Hi everybody, it's Jill Blanchette with Green Thumb Stampers. I'm going to try and talk a little bit louder today so that maybe my voice is going to be not quite as low. I'm finding when I do these on my iPad that my voice is much lower than when I'm doing the actual video on my phone. So here's hoping that I'm a little louder today. It's finally Friday time and I have a no frills tutorial for you on the accordion, interlocking accordion fun fold. So I did it a couple weeks ago on my Wednesday live, and you girls want to try that at our class even. So I thought I'd break it down, show everybody how to make it, and I got all the dimensions, the directions, so hang on and you'll get a chance to see. Today I'm going to give you a no frills tutorial for this interlocking accordion fold card. Now, this isn't going to be very quick because it's got a few steps to it, but I think if you stick with me, you will find that it's going to be pretty straightforward and easier than you think. So, I'm going to show you all the pieces that you're going to need to get started to make your own. Now, I'm not going to show you this card. I'm using some old retired papers that I have that I'm just using for a sample. But I will show you the pieces that you need, and then you can decorate however you want with whatever paper you want to use. This particular card, I did use the Earth and Elements, and I think the paper's Earth and Elegance that coordinates with the stamp set, and the rope embossing folder on these two pieces. On the card I'm going to show you, I'm going to use Designer Series paper here, but on this card I used just regular gray granite paper. So to get started, you're going to need, I'm just going to tell you your papers first. You need your base. You're going to need two pieces. One, I'm adapting this also because I don't have 12 by 12. So if you have 12 by 12, you would use different measurements. I have 8.5 by 11. So I have a 5.5 inch by 11 inch piece and a 5.5 by 5.5 inch piece. So you need two of those. You're going to need 5 pieces of paper measuring 5 1/4 by 3 3/4, and these two are the ones that I told you I used the rope embossing folder on in this card, and I'm using Designer Series paper. So again, you can decorate however you want with whatever papers you want. I'm just giving you a heads up of what you need. These two pieces will make up the accordion that's going to go in the center. That's what we're calling this thing, the accordion. All right, so you're going to need 2 pieces for that. I want to keep up as much as I can in the screen. And one will measure 3 1/4 by 8.5, and one will measure 3 1/4 by 9. Then when it comes to decorating your accordion fold, or your accordion piece here, this piece, you can use Designer Series paper to cover all the squares. You can layer them, like I'm going to give you dimensions here. You can, there's just all kinds of things that you could do. You could put as many different layers on it as you want. I'm just going to put one layer and then a layer on top of some of the folds from, or panels from there, but I will explain that when I get going. So you're going to need 4 pieces at 2.5 by 3 and 2 pieces, which I'm going to use as Designer Series paper, at 2 3/4 by 3. And those 2 designer papers will go here. And that is all of the papers that you need. So now we'll get started with the instructions for putting it together. So you're going to take this small piece that is 5.5 by 5.5, and I want you to just make a small, and not small, but a light mark at 1/2 inch. You don't have to press very hard. You can draw a light pencil line whenever you want, but that's going to be your guide so that you know how far to attach the other piece. So we're going to have that faint score line at 1/2 inch, and then move your paper up to 1.5 inches and score an actual score line that we are going to use to fold. Now that will leave you a 4-inch piece from the score line to the end, and that's perfect. Then on this other piece of cardstock, you're going to want to score it at 4 inches. Extend your arm out and score at 8 inches. And then that is it for that piece. And then we're going to attach these two together. And then that will make this piece here, from score line to score line, 4 inches, and give us our card exactly like we need. So let's go ahead and just put a little bit of glue where that faint score line was that I had you make it 1/2 inch. And attach these two pieces together. Now our piece is 16 inches long, which is what we want. And we're going to fold this one up. This one in. And this one in. Okay, then that will make all the panels. We want them each 4 inches. All right, so now we are going to want to cut a hole in the center 2 panels. And you need like a layering die of some sort. So I have these Nested Essentials dies in 2 different sizes. And you're going to want to make sure that it's wide enough for your 3¼ inch accordion fold piece to go through. Okay, the smallest one. So then go ahead and find your center on these 2 panels and cut out the shape on both of these panels. I'll be right back. All right, so now we have our holes cut in each of these panels. You want to take 2 of your 5 1/4 by 3 3/4 inch sheets and kind of put them on there where you want them. And I even suggest that you take a little tiny bit of snail and glue it down where you want it. Okay. Just to keep it in place, because we're going to be moving it around. So put them where you want them. Make sure they're even, the same spot, up and down, side by side. All right. Flip it over and take your pencil and trace the opening. And the one video that I watched, it said to mark the right and left so that you know which goes where in case your holes aren't in the same spot on each one. I cut my piece out, I left the die in place, I folded it over, and I cut again, so mine should be in the same spot. But just in case, I put the right and the left on there. I'll flip it back over, and I'm going to start with the right piece. And then we've got the next size larger die, and we're going to stick that on. And then I'm looking at the border, I'm looking at the pencil drawing that I made on there and using that for the reference of where I need to cut. I'll go ahead and cut it out. Now you'll want to make sure if you've got a die that's going to leave, you know, dots or something on the paper, that you're cutting on the correct side of the paper, because you don't want the dots to be like inverted on there. Mine are cutting the dots, but they're going to stay in the piece of paper. So like here, you can see the dots are going to stay on my piece of paper. But if they weren't, I don't know if you could see this, they're poking up, and we would want them on the front of the card to be poking down. So I would have the wrong side up right now. So now we'll take this off, and then we will glue it down to the front of the card. Just make sure that you got the top and the bottom correct, because I think when I flipped it, I need to invert it as well. So I'm going to glue this down. To here. Did I just put that on wrong? I sure did. Okay. But now we're going to take this piece off, and you see why we're cutting the bigger die, because we want to show a border. We want a border to run through there. So I'm going to put this one down. That looks pretty close. We will cut this one out now. I'm not going to move it back into frame. Get that out of there. I have a feeling we're going to hear a giant crash. So now I'm going to pop this out of there. So this was on there like that. Pop that out of there. Put some glue on it. Make sure you get some glue good up to where the cutout is, so that at least it's sticking good along the edges. That looks pretty good. So now we have our center two panels done. I'm going to go ahead and glue on the extra panels. I'll do them quickly. Let me pause. All right, so now I have all the panels on, and then I glued one on the front. You can change up the pattern that you want on the front. Like I said, I was just using retired up papers just to give you an idea of what it was, give you some different patterns so that you could follow along better. All right, so now we're going to move to the accordion piece that goes through the middle. We've got our two pieces, 3 1/4 wide, but we got one 8 1/2 inches long and one 9 inches long. So what we're going to do is we're going to score our 8 1/2 inch piece. Make sure I get the start with the right one. Our 8 1/2 inch piece, we're going to score that at 2 3/4 and 5 1/2. Now these two panels are the same size, and this one is a little bit bigger. So I'm going to now keep flowing along the accordion. So now our 9 inch piece, we're going to score it at 1/2 inch. So that's going to be our tab for gluing. Then we're going to need 3 1/2 inch for the next score. So that's going to give us our two 3 inch panels next to each other. Then we're going to move up to 6 1/4, which I can't see on my trimmer. I'm hoping it's right here. And then we should be good with this being 2 3/4 inch panel. All right, so now we've got our accordion piece all scored. We're going to put some adhesive on that 1/2 inch tab portion and glue this 8 1/2 inch, piece right up to our 1/2 inch score line. Now that makes our complete accordion. Oops, give it a second to dry before you start monkeying around with it. Just want to make sure it was straight. All right. Then this is where you can decorate all your panels how you wish. Like I said, I've got two pieces of designer series paper for this two center 3 inch pieces because you're not going to see these. I'll show you on my sample. They're going to be tucked in there, so you're not really going to see them. So to spend a lot of effort decorating them, you may as well use some designer series paper on them. So I'm going to glue these two in place. And then I've got the 4 pieces at 2.5 by 3 to go in these other holes. And then these, as well, decorate them from here on out however you want. And I will show you mine again. This one I left with just the paper on it. All these others I layered again with another piece of paper, and these would be 2 1/4 by 2 3/4 for these. If you want to put some like white on them with a decoration, or let me get that on. I just want to get to the last final step of this, and then you'll be on your way to doing your own. All right, so here's here's what your accordion is. This will go in and back and in and back and in. Fold on your, burnish on your fold lines real good. And then the center panel is going to stick through your hole. So again, go ahead and decorate these. I recommend you decorate them before you put them on. So on these two side panels, I've got a little bit of embellishing going on, and then I just put some words on these two panels. When you got that done, fold it back up and feed it through the hole. You want to put 2 pieces on one side. Oops, I lost that one. Fold it up. And 2 pieces on the other side. So put your decorated pieces in the middle. Then fold it up. Close it. Now, I was starting to tell you, this one will stick back a little more. The center one, because it's bigger, it will stick back a little more. So now go ahead and put your panel wherever you want it on here, wherever you want to stick it. And go ahead and use some good glue. I'm just going to use my tape. And then shut the front. Oops, that's the back. Shut the back. All right, don't make a boo-boo like I just did. And then do the same thing with the other side. Shut it down. And then now it should be all stuck together. But when you put the front on the wrong side, see, then my pattern paper was upside down, so be very careful that you put the paper on the correct side. Or if you do that, then go ahead and put another piece on the front. But that's all you do, guys. And then that will make your accordion card. Then just go ahead and do whatever you want on the front. If you want to make it a little fancier, if you just want to put a word on the front, a label with some wording on the front, maybe a piece of ribbon, that's all up to you. But there you go. It's not a short video, I apologize, but it is a no frills tutorial on how to make this interlocking accordion fold card. Have a great weekend. Well, what'd you think? Is that something that you're going to give a try? I hope I broke it down into some easy enough steps for you to not shy away from it. It's a great card. It's fun. It's beautiful when it's created. It's just getting to it. So again, I hope I broke it down into some easy enough steps for you and that you do give it a try. So feel free to post it on my Creativity in Bloom Facebook page. We'd love to see what you come up with. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you again. Bye.